A study turns toward mixed methods not because a researcher wants to be thorough, or because combining approaches feels impressive, but because the research problem itself tells you that one way of knowing is not enough. Mixed methods becomes inevitable when the tension inside the problem reveals two different kinds of missing knowledge, one rooted in the measurable patterns that shape outcomes, and another rooted in the lived experiences, interpretations, and meanings behind those patterns. This is the moment when the study outgrows a single methodological frame. You begin to see that numbers alone leave something essential unsaid, or that voices alone cannot reveal the scale or structure of what is happening. Imagine a district tracking rising student absenteeism. The quantitative data may reveal the trend: who is absent, how often, from which schools. But the pattern alone cannot answer the deeper question of why. Only when students begin describing the pressures they are navigating, the barriers they face, and the emotions behind their decisions does the meaning become clear. The numbers reveal the shape of the problem, the voices reveal its heart. Mixed methods arises in exactly these moments, when meaning needs magnitude or magnitude needs meaning. It is a methodological response to a conceptual need. This is why mixed methods research often uses verbs such as connect, explain, build, integrate, compare, or converge. These verbs reflect the idea that the study is not simply collecting different data types, but creating a relationship between them. Mixed methods begins when the research problem requires insight that lives at the intersection of two traditions: the interpretive richness of qualitative work and the analytic clarity of quantitative work. The mixed methods researcher stands between these traditions, honoring both the human texture of lived experience and the measurable truth that patterns reveal. The heart of mixed methods is integration. Mixed methods is not two parallel studies running beside each other. It is the moment when one form of evidence deepens, challenges, or extends the other. Triangulation checks for consistency, but integration explains, expands, and connects. Integration is the conversation between meaning and pattern. It is the moment when numerical evidence reveals something that the qualitative strand could not have uncovered alone, or when qualitative insight explains a surprising quantitative result. Integration allows contradictions to become insight instead of confusion. It lets experience and evidence sit in dialogue, illuminating parts of the phenomenon that neither method could hold on its own. Understanding mixed methods also means understanding the nature of the data it brings together. Qualitative data is textured, layered, observational, and human. It carries emotion, interpretation, context, and voice. Quantitative data is structured, patterned, and comparative. It shows distribution, relationship, and magnitude. Mixed methods research does not flatten these differences. It preserves them. It lets the depth of qualitative meaning meet the structure of quantitative pattern, creating a fuller, more honest understanding of the phenomenon. Time is part of this logic. In some studies, understanding must begin with participants' perspectives, allowing qualitative findings to shape the development of quantitative measures. In others, the quantitative pattern appears first, and the qualitative strand must step forward to explain what the numbers alone cannot say. And in some studies, both forms of inquiry unfold at the same moment, each offering a different facet of truth that needs to be understood concurrently. Mixed methods research draws attention to this temporal flow. Whether one strand follows another or they move together is not a procedural choice but a conceptual one, an expression of what the research problem demands. Sampling reflects this same logic. When the study begins qualitatively, the people who share their experience early on help define the constructs that will later be measured in the quantitative phase. When the study begins quantitatively, the patterns discovered in that strand guide the selection of participants for the qualitative phase. Often those whose data stand out, whose subgroup patterns matter, or whose perspectives will illuminate the trends. In concurrent designs, sampling may align conceptually rather than directly. Mixed methods sampling is purposeful, not mechanical, shaped by the unanswered questions inside the problem. All of this requires a particular kind of reflexivity. The mixed methods researcher must understand that they are not simply combining techniques. They are moving between worldviews. Qualitative inquiry is grounded in constructivist ideas about meaning-making. Quantitative inquiry often grows from post-positivist commitments to measurement and pattern. Mixed methods invites researchers into a worldview that honors both. Many mixed methods scholars operate from a pragmatic stance, believing that the best method is the one that most truthfully addresses the problem, even if it means crossing philosophical boundaries. Pragmatism makes room for flexibility, allowing the researcher to choose the path that best illuminates the phenomenon rather than forcing the study into a single epistemological frame. There is also space for a transformative worldview in mixed methods, one that uses multiple ways of knowing to amplify marginalized voices, address inequities, and illuminate structural patterns that qualitative or quantitative methods alone might miss. In a transformative stance, integration is not just methodological, it is ethical. It ensures that the patterns of inequity revealed through quantitative analysis are paired with the voices and experiences of those living inside those patterns, making the study both deeper and more just. This is what makes mixed methods powerful. It creates a way of seeing that is both precise and humane, structured and interpretive, grounded in evidence and rooted in lived reality. Mixed methods lets the stories and the patterns sit together, illuminating the phenomenon with depth and dimension. It honors the full complexity of educational life, where experience and evidence constantly shape one another. And it ensures that the conclusions that follow do not lean too heavily on one form of understanding at the expense of the other. This is the philosophical foundation of mixed methods. It explains why mixed methods arises, what it asks of the researcher, and what it can reveal that single method designs cannot. With this foundation in place, the next video turns to the designs themselves, 3 core mixed methods approaches that animate the structure of a mixed method study, and show how integration becomes a pathway into deeper understanding.